New on Curiosity Stream.
From time to time, we have collisions between asteroids and the Earth.
We track them, we study them, we hope the big one never comes. Don't look up, it's Asteroid Rush. And alligators. They rarely get sick. They even outlasted the dinosaurs. Could they hold the secret to human longevity?
Their blood could have antibacterial applications.
Wade into the investigation on immortal alligators. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to Season 17, episode number 3661. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. Montgomery! And you are in the Men's Room. I'll tell you today, Ryan Castle joins us from his basement studio dungeon bar, and once again, we will sit and spin. Today we get a little funky with the 10 best bass lines of all times. That's right. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, a Men's Room shout of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted. Clack, clack, drink at the draw. All right, here we go. A woman runs into a man's bathroom and stabs a man using a urinal in the butt. Not once, but twice. Meanwhile, Florida man finds bathroom door locked at a convenience store, so he pees in the walk-in beer cooler, which is not nice. Another man finds a 60-year-old bag of McDonald's and while doing a demo, said the fries still look the same. A 7-car crash in South Carolina and a pony on the highway is to blame. And someone just bought a 30-year-old barrel of whiskey for over $1 million. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, a few years ago, there was the Tide Pod Challenge. That's where people who were old enough to know better intentionally ingested Tide Pods. It was inexplicably stupid, but for the most part, that fad is now over. You know, because people started dying and stuff. But now, people are accidentally swallowing their AirPods. In fact, a quick Google search shows an alarming number of people mistaking their AirPods for their medication, whether it's aspirin, prescription, or otherwise. Actress Jamie Lee Curtis, she swallowed her AirPods after mistaking them for the popcorn that she was eating. But look, it happens. It happens remarkably often. People accidentally swallow or even inhale things that they didn't mean to. There's a 2-year-old kid from Ozark. He accidentally inhaled a rock while at daycare. It settled into his lung. He's been in the hospital ever since. There's a 60-year-old man in Illinois. He went to the dentist for a routine procedure. He somehow inhaled the drill bit. But like the kid from Ozark, the drill bit also settled into his lung. He went in to get a tooth filled. He might have to get part of his lung removed. Again, because he inhaled the dentist drill bit. And finally, in a story we shared with you yesterday, there's a woman, she tried to retrieve her cell phone that she dropped into an outhouse toilet. She fell into the hole head first and then was trapped there until firefighters came to her rescue. But all of these stories inspired today's question. We hope nothing that extreme has happened to you, but cigarette butts in a drink, insects, coffee grounds. Today, we want to know, What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch?
Be part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
KISW.
Hello, Machelas. Away we go. Welcome to Season 17, Episode number 3661. What a large and charge program we have for you today.
You think so?
Guaranteed future repeat. That's
yeah. Well, that I know, yeah.
You know, Tim, we're going to need to take some time off. And the reason we do these shows so well is in the event that we decide to take a day off,
if we do,
hopefully the program is worthy enough of a guaranteed future repeat. Yeah! That's all we strive for each and every day here in the Men's Room.
But we keep the bar low because it can't be any worse than any other day.
Ryan Castle, the drunk in charge, joining us from his basement studio dungeon bar. Once again, we'll sit and spin, and today we're getting on the funky side. Steve, you're going to love this. The 10 best bass lines of all times. Not the 10 best basses. These are the best bass lines in song.
I mean, sometimes not the greatest bass players come up with great bass lines, man.
Okay.
And sometimes great bass players, you're like, why'd you play it? Like, technically it's brilliant, but the song sucks. You know what I mean? So it's a delicate line. Are you trying to show off, show people what you know, or do you just want to be part of a good song?
Or do you, as you would say, be a little bit more simplistic but iconic?
Sometimes the simple stuff, man, makes the song rock. Other times, the really complicated stuff can make the song suck. If you can be complicated and make the song rock, you go, Justin Chancellor. I always use him as the example from Tool, right? Badass bass player, sells the song, makes it awesome every time.
And he's a big dude.
Yes, he irritates me because he's so good. Seriously, like, I admire him. I love listening to anything he plays, and at the same time, I hate him because I did not think of any of it.
I just know he's a picker.
Sounds bad. Yes, he plays with a pick.
Yeah.
A picker.
Do you play with a pick?
Now, used to when I first started, right? And then just switched it over to fingers one day.
So that's the two styles. Either finger or the pick.
Yeah,
you
basically.
can get either one.
Yeah.
I think I'm taking the finger, Dad.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like generally when you watch bass players, they're almost always just using fingers.
Mm-hmm.
That guy
four
goes crazy.
strings, you got four fingers in your thumb, you're like, why not?
Could we write a bass line without being able to play it?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that coach a lot of sports that can tell you how to do. Like, I could tell you how to shoot a jump shot.
Think about it.
But if
like
I
this.
shoot it, it's bad.
Maybe you can't play it, but it's like when someone whistles or they hum. Half the time, it's not actually a song. You know, it's just what your mind tells you. So you can say, "Hey, man, play that," and then I can play it, and you go like, "Your bass line sucks, but I'm playing it for you."
Steve farted and harmonized with Hart. We were listening to Ryan Castle's show in the office.
All right.
And right when she says, "Come on home, girl," and ooh, and he went.
But I mean, it was
right with it.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
We just kind of looked at it. I'm like, I didn't mean to do that, but my ass is singing.
I like that line. Come on, home girl.
Yeah.
All right, on to the call. By the way, we'll be here for the Men's Room happy hour exclusively on the Odyssey app. If you haven't checked that out, please just download the Odyssey app. It's absolutely free. Hundreds of channels on there for your musical pleasure. Not only that, but you can get the Men's Room Daily podcast. You can listen to us anywhere in the country. So if you're out of town, you can listen to us anywhere you are through the KISW channel. And then also we have the Men's Room Happy Hour channel. That only goes live Monday through Friday at 6. So if you go there now and tune in, basically there's dead air until we go live at 6 o'clock. But tonight, we're going to play a little portion of our own Mike Hawk's roasting of Steve Miggs.
Yeah!
From the other night up at Snoqualmie Casino. Yeah, it's and Mike, he killed it up there. It was
epic.
Very funny.
That's why we played Steve and Mine's last night.
Right.
Because we were trying to lead up to Mike's.
We're like the warm-up act.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we did the tease. Mike tomorrow.
Right.
The best.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
On your concert poster, Miles and I were TBA.
We were the small bands you can barely read.
Mike got a lot of compliments.
Oh, dude,
yeah,
you crushed it.
Well deserved. So if you don't have the Odyssey app, download it. We'll see you for the Men's Room Happy Hour coming up tonight.
Who knew Mike was funny?
At 6 o'clock.
That's
all
the
these
thing.
years.
Nobody did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still, Mike, I'm still roasting. Let's go. All right.
Today on our question, what did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? Do you guys have any, before we get into some of the wonderful stories, do you guys have any stories that you can remember about...
like a lot of people in your late teens, early 20s, when you kind of had house parties and stuff, I think we've all probably inadvertently swallowed the cigarette butt that was put out in a cup of beer. I will not repeat this one on the air. I told you and Mike earlier about an experience I was having.
Sure.
Yeah.
And something like went in my mouth, went down my throat before I could do anything about it. Based on the situation I was in, I wanted to continue what I was doing, but I was trying to figure out what could that possibly have been that came from there and shot down my throat. And to this day, it bugs me, man. It really does.
I've got one inhale story, which it almost killed me. So the very first house that I lived in the Baltimore area, it had a basement in it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of hurricanes there. But the house was a very nice house. I wanted to fix that house up. I know I've told the story before, but I had carpeted the basement.
You carpeted the basement?
I carpeted the basement. It was a dry basement. I had put in it was a brand new French drain that went all the way around the basement.
Oui.
I did not think about the window wells. I did not think about the sump pump and where it was located. But either way, I was going to make a nice downstairs basement for myself. Maybe put a pool table.
Sure.
Ping pong, man.
Yeah, man, hang out in the basement.
Right. I mean, that's what guys do. It was also cooler down there than the other part of the house. All the things that you want. Anyway, a hurricane comes. I just remember the water was cascading down the steps like a waterfall. And of course, right when the water got to the level of going into the sump pump, the power shut off. And we lost power for a week. So I didn't have a generator. The basement's just completely flooded. If you know anything about, there's nothing worse than picking up, it feels like 900 pounds
wet carpet.
Of wet carpet.
God, I know.
That's awful. It's just like you're picking up basically insulation. It just irritates you. The padding, and I thought to myself, okay, look, I am never putting carpet down here again. But it's a concrete slab.
Sure.
And at the time, people were just starting to redo concrete slabs and some of the hipper bars or whatever. So just concrete floor, but they put a layer of something on it.
And it saves a lot of money.
And it does.
That's what I've done in my basement.
I had a big 5-gallon bucket of polyurethane in my basement. So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to polyurethane the bottom of my basement. Sounds like a pretty good idea, right?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Well, I did not realize how strong the fumes were.
That's why they say to wear a mask.
Well,
they even tell you.
Oh my God!
Wear a mask.
So I opened up.
This is pre everybody having masks around.
Right, I know. This is. How hard could this be? So I open up the windows. I start putting the polyurethane down. Man, about 5 minutes goes by, and I almost fall back and hit my head on the wall. I'm like, oh God. So I'm like, I am losing it. Like my brain's fried. So I crawl up the steps. On all fours. Open the door and get outside on all fours. By this time, my neighbor across the street is looking down at me, smoking a cigarette on her porch, and she says, "Are you okay?"
Hey, do I look like okay?
No, Kathy, I'm not okay. I think I'm going to die. My head is spinning around, and I sit up, and like everything's spinning around, like basically like I'm drunk, and I can't get my anchor down.
Right,
I can't get my leg down. I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. It turns out I had to evacuate that home and stay in a hotel for 3 nighs. With all the windows open, basically, in my house, which, I wasn't comfortable with, but there was no...
Really? In Maryland, with your windows open? You weren't comfortable?
Days not being home. But it was that bad.
Did anyone steal anything?
No one stole anything. It wasn't that... First of all, I didn't finish the job. I mean, there's just like 7 stripes on the floor,
right.
But I swear... If I'd have been down there for 5 more minutes, I think they would have found me on my back down there. You know what I mean? And I don't know what would have happened. I'd probably have been brain dead, but it was the worst thing that I've ever inhaled in my life, more so than the tobacco bong hit that I tried to take one time, which was number 2.
But that was not an accident.
That was not an accident. I meant to do that. I didn't realize. I guess you probably had a different type of sealant. I put the wrong kind of sealant.
Mine was specifically for, hey, do you have a cement floor? This is exactly what it is designed for, whether it's your garage, basement, etc. And obviously they've upped the game a little bit, but there were the stuff I've used, no real fumes with it.
This stuff was. Yeah. This stuff was sneaky, too. Because you're just like, oh, that's just the smell of it. Then the next thing you know, you're like, right. Your brain cells are just frying at an unbelievable rate.
What's the stuff people use in the garages? And it almost looks like speckled.
Okay, so that's a separate, you can buy, it's like a paint and sealer in one, should you choose to do that. And a lot of times they'll tone it somewhere between gray and silver so that your floor looks glossy. And then if you want to add that speckled thing, it's almost like a separate confetti. So you can buy it all together, but it's like a separate confetti that you then throw down on the floor. Mm-hmm. So it's not like in your paint bucket. It's something, I hate that look, right? So,
you don't like sparkles in your garage?
It's not the sparkles, man. It's just these weird.
It looks like glitter.
Yeah, and the stuff we bought for the basement, I want to say that crap came with it, but I was like, I'm not putting it on the floor. I don't like it. And I'm also lazy, and it's an additional step.
Yeah.
So it all worked out in my favor.
Yeah, I fathom what it is, but I don't know. I'm just easily amused. I'm like, oh, you got one of those fancy garages now.
People that like that stuff, they love it, man.
Well, it's almost the same people who go in and redo your closets. They also will redo your garage, cabinets, and all these things. And if you go in and set it up right, there's nothing better than walking into somebody's garage and they've got it all kind of turned down and done.
Yeah.
This looks like a living area. Like you could almost pull the car out, put a couch in there, and watch television with the guys and watch football on the weekends. And this would be like a nice room. It's got a little mini refrigerator.
I have no point to do it in my garage because it's always going to be a disaster. We've lived there for 8 years, whatever the hell it is. Said how many times have we parked in the garage? Never. Not one time. We have never pulled the car in there. It's full. There's just not a vehicle in it.
Yeah, I told you.
With
I had
more than 2 wheels.
I had a buddy. You just couldn't. They just never parked in his garage because he had turned it into an English pub.
Now
that's acceptable.
Yeah.
That is
so
okay.
that was kind of the thing. It's like, hey, you can't park in here, but also there's a TV, there's a bar set up, fancy a pint. Like, yeah, keep the car out of here.
English breakfast. Our question, what did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Couple of comments here to start. It says, when I was a young child, I mistook a slug for a brownie. No! Bit that bad boy right in half.
Yeah.
What kind of brownies did your mom make that'll look like a slug?
Maybe a gummy bear?
Like, I would get that. But I've never seen like a rectangular or square slug. And slugs look like slugs. Someone else, when I was 4 years old, I swallowed a sewing needle. The ambulance came, took me to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, they couldn't find the sewing needle that was stuck in my throat. So they x-rayed my head, and they found that I'd sniffed it into my nasal passage. They reached in with curved tweezers, and they pulled it out.
Oh, man, I heard a terrible story. a couple weeks ago.
You're going to share it, aren't you?
I am going to share it.
Yeah.
So a guy who is a lifelong friend of a guy I know, goes into a bar with a bunch of friends down in South Lake Union. They're doing their thing. It's the middle of the day. They're putting it on pretty good. They get around to shots. The guy does the shots. At the bottom of the shot glass, there is a rather large shard of glass. From glassware. Takes a shot back. The glass gets lodged in his throat.
Oh, God.
It goes through his throat on the inside. Okay? He starts coughing and uncontrollably coughing, trying to dislodge this thing. Now, there's not much you can do at this point. So I guess they called 911. An ambulance showed up and said, well, we can't do anything. And so they end up going to the hospital. And I think, within 24 hours, but he's still coughing the entire time. He can't stop coughing.
Yeah.
So while all this is going on, he's continually doubled over, trying to, get his body's just having the reflux.
Of course.
Reflex from this shard of glass being lodged in his throat. I guess they finally get him up to Harborview or Swedish or wherever they took him to. And I'm not sure if they were able to, I guess they had to put him out and try to get that thing out, but they did get it out, but then they had to stitch it up.
Right.
On the inside. Because it cut him so bad.
God damn.
I mean, when I heard this story, I was just like, this is the most awful thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, you got to figure that every retch from the cough is just moving that thing all over the place.
You can't do anything about it.
Then you start choking on blood.
Blood is coming out of his mouth the entire time this is going on.
So don't do shots, kids.
Good God. I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, like, that's what I do. I do shots.
Hey, that's why you drink straight out of the bottle. Yeah. Safety first.
Yeah.
Remember Ozzy Osbourne had that, and not doing shots. He was drinking something. But glass got into his throat. I want to say he had to like cancel a tour or postpone recording a studio album. This is, maybe 15 years ago?
Maybe, yeah.
But I mean, it had glass lodged in his throat. And when you make your living singing, that's a real problem. Damn. That's terrifying.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tracy. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, guys.
Hola.
Okay, real quick. I got asthma, so I use an inhaler. Pick up my inhaler at the end of the evening. Take a good deep inhalation. I feel something go down in my chest. Well, it wasn't about 30 minutes later till I coughed this thing up. It was a great big, one of those pincher bugs.
Ooh. It was in your inhaler? Hello?
Hold on a second.
Sorry. Hold on, wait. We got it. I got it.
Cue the hold music.
I got it, man.
Very important. Do you have it? It's simple. His call is very important to him.
He doesn't care about you and what you're doing in your time.
He will get back to us just as soon as he can.
We're going to assume, though, that bug wasn't, in fact, in the inhaler. And that a pharmaceutical company probably did not put it there. But wherever he put his inhaler, the bug crawled in and said, hey, you know what? This place is okay. I wonder what goes on in here. Next thing you know, he's down in the esophagus.
Hello.
What do you think he's working or ordering food? Where do you have to go?
Customer?
Nah, that's working.
Hello?
Hello. Hey, welcome back to the show, man.
Yes. Sorry to bother
There you are.
All right.
Sorry, guys. I'm driving. I'm trying to talk on the phone and pay attention at the same time. Inhaled a pincher bug. Like I said, it was about 30 minutes of coughing and kind of freaking out, trying to figure out what the heck I inhaled. And coughed that thing up. And, it was about an inch long.
Was he still alive?
Oh, yeah.
I figured
So then it was trying to compose myself to keep from throwing up, thinking of what I just inhaled.
But as long as he's in one piece and you didn't crunch him up,
that's
or anything,
huge. That's huge. But still, the fact that he was still alive, looking back when you were coughing up, could you feel it wriggling around inside of it?
I couldn't so much feel it moving, more than I could feel like an obstruction in my lungs. I could feel something in my lungs. I just didn't know what it was. The weirdest feeling.
I never even thought about it not going down your throat.
Right, because you take that big breath.
Yeah, it went straight right into my lungs. And like I said, I could feel it in there, and I didn't know what it was until I started coughing, and I didn't stop. I couldn't stop for, like I said, 20, 30 minutes.
Why did you need to take...
I finally coughed that thing up, and I was like, how in the heck did that thing get in there?
Why did you? Why do you need to take an inhaler?
Asthma.
I've got asthma.
Okay, do you have to take it just whenever you have something that comes on, or do you take it every night?
No, I use it 4 times a day: breakfast, lunch, afternoon, then
and
right
fourth
before
meal.
bedtime.
All right, so I'm going to guess that you check your inhaler every single time before you take that big breath now.
Oh, yeah, I turn it upside down, smack it on the counter, open the cap, make sure it's down there.
Yeah, that's what happens, man. God damn.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Woman shared how she mistook one of her AirPods for ibuprofen. Popped it in her mouth and swallowed it. The Boston woman said on TikTok that she shared what happened to her friends for educational purposes. She explained that she had her pill in one hand and she was crawling into bed. She had ibuprofen 800 in her right hand. She had her AirPod in her left. According to the woman, she said she threw something back, took her water bottle, boom, takes that sip. That's when she realized that the ibuprofen was still in her hand. So she tried to puke out the AirPod.
Right.
It did not come out. She said that it came out naturally, and she said that she had to an X-ray to confirm it. She also said that she wouldn't be trying to use that AirPod again. See, now I think you got to see if it still works.
Oddly enough, I will say this. As I was researching this earlier today, and I told you there's an incredible number of people that swallowed their AirPod instead of, typically it's a medication. One dude in particular, it was still working, but it was still transmitting. So even when he went to the emergency room, they could hear it. They're like, well, the good news is we know where it is. It's in your stomach. But also, they're durable. Still works.
It says a Massachusetts man managed to swallow one while he was sleeping. 7-year-old from Georgia had to be taken to emergency room after eating one. The Massachusetts man, I guess he just was sleeping with it in. After he shoveled snow for 2 hours, he put his AirPods in and headed to bed. In the morning, he awoke to find that one of his AirPods was missing. He also noted that he was experiencing slight discomfort in the middle of his chest. He said he went back out in the morning, he shoveled snow for another hour, and when he came in, he tried to drink a glass of water again. He could not. Well, his family suggested maybe he swallowed the AirPod, but the idea felt too weird. A trip to the hospital room led to an X-ray, and the doctors discovered the AirPod lodged in his esophagus. So they did an emergency endoscopy and removed the AirPod, and he returned home to shovel more snow because he lived in Massachusetts.
Oddly enough, my kid, his birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks, and one of the things he wants are AirPods. So me and the wife are discussing this, and I'm like, look, I don't have a problem with it, but after going through all these stories, I'm like, he's going to eat these damn things. He's not going to mean to, but he's not going to be able to find it, and I'm telling you he's going to swallow an AirPod.
What looks worse, that or the old Bluetooth thing that people used to wear on their ear?
The Bluetooth thing.
Okay.
Because AirPods, it's almost like cool. It's almost like a fashion thing to have them on.
Sure.
Yeah.
That other thing, I don't know why it annoyed me so bad. I think it was the people who were using it.
I think that's what it is.
Correct. And it was a certain type of person back then. Like now everybody uses those things. Like,
absolutely.
I have headphones that have the microphone in. It's not that weird. But back then it was either like But you think of like cheesy, like double gun sales guy.
Right. It was a douchebag. That's the way you interpret it. Even if it's the nicest guy, you're like, douchebag.
Okay, but it's also harder downtown to determine what you're walking past or who's coming your way. Because there's always a person talking to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, when you're trying to just be a little bit safe, you have to determine, is this AirPod guy or is this not AirPod guy?
Some people are obvious, like the people screaming at pigeons. You go, no AirPod.
No AirPods.
No AirPod.
But I have had occasions where I thought, oh, AirPod woman, and go, oh, no, that's not AirPod woman.
Right. She's just crazy.
It is tough, too, because sometimes you can't. Guy screaming at pigeons, like he looks like he lives on the street.
Right.
It's actually a woman screaming.
Or
not a guy.
All right, but I'm just saying, like, well, in my neighborhood, but there's some people who I know are just as crazy. They just don't look
right.
Don't
crazy. Look crazy, right?
Yeah, like the shoes aren't all tattered. They look like they have it together. Then you realize, like, oh, they're just like talking to nobody.
I had one this morning. Walked by in Fremont. I was like, oh, AirPod guy.
I would also say,
and I'm like, no, he's not.
Bluetooth guy also, like we were talking about, he was a douchebag. Also, Bluetooth guy would just take it in front of you.
Right.
Like, it's like, right, God, like cell phone or not, like, I'm just one of those people, like.
You step
get up and leave.
Right. Like, I was at a bar over the weekend by myself. Like, there was nobody else in there. There was like one guy behind me, but I had to take this phone call. So I got up and walked outside.
Yeah, I did.
It's not that hard.
Just always do, man. Plus, I don't need people listening.
Here's what all you need to know. In the old days, when you used the phone, they put you in a booth, so no one had to hear you.
Right. It wasn't for your privacy.
It was
for everyone
everybody.
else's.
You could be outside. They still put you in a booth so that no one else had to hear you. What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
By the way, we had the guy who called earlier who used the inhaler only to find out he inhaled an actual pincher bug. Mm-hmm. On that note, says my sister-in-law, she used a neti pot without rinsing it first. An earwig crawled out of her nostrils shortly after.
Oh, my.
I would not be okay with that. I'll tell you right now. Hello, Arlie. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So about 25 years ago, I'm in the doctor getting a normal little checkup, and he looks at my throat and looks at my ears, and he looks at my nose, and he sits back and looks at me, and he pulls out a pair of tweezers, long pair, and goes into my nose and pulls out a half a rusty ballpoint pen spring.
That you were unaware was in there?
I was unaware in there, and he says, he's my buddy. He says, you want to explain this? And I said, well, that looks like a ballpoint pen spring. And he goes, that's what it looks like, is it's only half of it, and it's all rusty. And I said, well, last time I snorted anything with a ballpoint pen, I used to use a ballpoint pen tube for cocaine, and it's been 15 years since I did any cocaine.
Oh, no.
That spring was in my nose, rusting into nothing for 10 or 15 years.
Did it cause any other complications just based on the fact that it started rusting in a sinus cavity?
Not a bit. I never had problems in my nose or anything. I had a little bit of blood and stuff when he pulled it out.
Well, the cocaine saved you. How about it is smell?
My smelling's probably never been much good after my years of cocaine running. So,
right.
Yeah, I was just in there somewhere and stuck and embedded and rusting away.
See, kids, that's why you roll up a dollar.
When he pulled the rest of it out, could you breathe through that nostril for the first time? Did you stop snoring? Was there any side effects to actually having a clear nostril, a clear nasal cavity?
No, it must have been in there pretty lodged in somewhere pretty deep. I mean, I had a bloody nose when he pulled it out, but we got that cleaned up and never really had another side effect. He looked close to see if the other half was still in there somewhere, but never found anything more.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, you said, look, at that point, you had not done cocaine in 15 years, right?
Probably that long, yeah.
That's only... So it's been in there at least that long, but that's on the assumption that the last time you did cocaine was the time. It could have been in there for 30 years, man.
Yeah, maybe.
Man, oh man.
Good times.
I wonder what they'll find in my face.
This is why you don't do drugs, kids.
That's exactly it.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
No kidding. It's still up there.
Here's a story that will make every parent shudder. It says when she, whoever that is, was about 3 years old, my sister mistook one of those old school red glass Christmas ornaments for an apple and bit into it.
Oh my
She had to get airlifted to the hospital where they removed a bunch of tiny glass shards from her lips, gums, cheeks, and tongue. Luckily, she did not swallow any, but she made 100% recovery. I have only used plastic ornaments after our daughter was born. God.
Okay, all right. So this had to be late 70s. For some reason, there was a trend on the East Coast where, as far as a display on your kitchen table, people would take bread pieces and they would shellac them back to varnish, they would clear.
Wait. You said there's an East Coast thing. This might be West Virginia.
It might be West Virginia.
They shellacked.
Breadsticks. It was like a bread basket.
I remember fake
all
fruit.
Right. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Breadsticks. These were.
But this was real bread.
It was real bread, but it was shellacked.
Why?
And I know my uncle was hammered, and he was over, and he's eating these breadsticks.
Oh, my God.
Stepfather's like, Raymond, those are decorative, man. They're shellac. I was wondering why they're so crunchy. I mean, once you got through the shellac, I guess it wasn't that bad. But I just remember being a kid, like, I knew they were decorative.
Right.
So, let me see if people still do this. Shellac and bread.
I'm a throw. I don't remember bread. By the way, shellac and bread.
I know.
I don't know. It's either a bad term or it's like you're speaking another language. I just remember the fruit, but you could always tell because as a kid, it was kind of natural to be like, "Ooh, an apple or a banana," and be like, "You can't eat those."
Sure.
Like, all right.
And but you bought them fake. I've never seen someone go like, I bought them, and now I'm going to shellac it and put that on the table.
Wasn't that what they do with some food? Like some places they have here's our breakfast sandwich, but just sitting out.
Yes.
That's not a real, I don't think you're supposed to eat those sandwiches.
You're not. So a lot of places, if you have like a display cabinet, what they'll do, they made the food, right? And they'll cut like a piece of pie or whatever, or your sandwich. Then they shellac that thing, but that same thing is used, for like 5 years until it's removed from the menu.
Okay. How to preserve bread for decoration. Preserving fresh bread for... This is basically what it looked like. So it looks like something...
Why would you do that?
I don't know why they did this.
I mean, that's so...
I just remember hearing the crunch when he put that thing in his mouth. Sounded like he ate a rock.
And your stepdad's Italian.
I know.
Like, I just assumed he would have...
know he didn't do the decorations in the house.
No, but you taste shellac.
Well, no, this is how bad about Italians. I just assume there's loaves of real bread laid around.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, this is like when I super glued the gingerbread house together and my kid was eating it.
Yeah, but at least they were
I couldn't get the sides up, so I had to super glue it together before they decorated it, and the next day I was gone and they started eating the damn thing. I was like, oh no.
Did you Google, can my kid die from eating dry super glue?
Yeah, I figured it was good by then. What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK. Hello, Aaron.
How many days can kids survive after eating
Gorilla Glue?
Hola, Aaron. Welcome to the show.
Hey, they're both honor students.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
So I don't love to fly, and my wife and I were taking a trip. I don't remember where it was, but we're getting fairly close. Well, I don't know how much further we had, but I was leaning forward, and I had my hands kind of on the edge of the seat, underneath a little, and I was kind of just picking around, and I felt something under there, and I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, probably nothing. And I pull my hand out, and it was, now I don't know how descriptive you want me to be, but every stereotype of a booger was what this booger was, and it was on my finger, and I tried not to freak out because I knew what it was, but I was trying to justify it.
But it's not yours. That's the entire problem.
Was it big and gooey and wet, or was it hard and dry?
Oh, it was bloody with the hair.
As a freshie.
Yeah, I looked at my wife because, like I said, I was trying to justify it away, and I said, oh my God, look, a raisin, and she screamed, she goes, that's a booger, and I screamed and threw it across the plane and started washing my hands and my ice that I had left over in my drink.
Where did the booger go when you flung it, man?
Why'd you flip the booger?
Right, planes are not big.
Get out of here.
I don't know. I panicked. I felt bad for whoever it landed on, but once the realization set in that I had somebody else's booger, I flung it.
Man, I'm right there with you, and it's inexplicable. People have bled on me, puked on me, peed on me, pooped on me. If it's a booger, the game has changed. Even when my kids were little, they poop all over you. Whatever, I can deal with it. They puke on you, fine. But if they sneeze and a booger landed on me, it's I need a minute, man. Mm-hmm. I really do. And a word of advice, if you are sitting in a seat that is not in your home and you feel something underneath it, stop touching it. It is nothing good, I promise you.
Yeah. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, man. That's I told you years ago when I guess it was actually my first job where you got paid under the table. Anyway, just scraping the bottom of seats at an arena. But there were boogers on the bottoms of 90% of these, and it was so gross. But we had the scrapers because we had to send them off to get repainted. So it was our job to get all the crap off. And I mean, you would have like piles of dried boogers and gum when you were dumb, but I just remember this one just kind of chipped off and bounced off of my lip. And to this day, I can tell you exactly where it bounced off my lip, man. It kind of ruined my day. Like, that was not my booger. I don't know how long that booger has been there, but I had to take a paint scraper to get it off, and it just touched me, man. Not okay with that.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tony. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So about 14 years ago, I had just been dating my now wife for about 6 or 8 months. We're hanging out at my brother's house, and somebody gets the bright idea of let's shotgun some beers.
All right.
But we're shotgunning beers out of glass bottles, so it's the trick that you put the straw in it. And so
we used to call that snorkeling a beer.
Okay, but we're going to shotgun these, and I realize I got to pee first, so I step outside to just go pee in the bushes. Come back in, my beer's all ready for me, so I take it, and everybody starts shotgunning, and all of a sudden I get about halfway through and feel something fall down my throat. And I just stop and look at everyone, and everybody's just having a good time, and they're like, why'd you stop? And I said, I felt something go down my throat. I don't know what it was. And everybody just goes silent. I'm just like, what just happened? Apparently, my brother had taken the bottle cap, folded it in half, and dropped it down in the beer.
What the hell,
Why did you do that?
Yeah.
So everybody, including my girlfriend, who is now my wife, watched this happen, and nobody decided to tell me, probably because we were all pretty drunk.
Yeah, I mean, some things are funny, but a bottle cap's a piece of metal with ridges around it.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know that, yeah.
Now what?
So the next day, people are asking, what happens? What do you do? And I went, I guess, let's see if it comes out. I'm not too worried about it. It's only aluminum. No big deal. I'm like, well, what if you got like an MRI? I said, it's aluminum. It's not that big a deal. And they're like, are you sure? So I put a magnet up against a bottle cap and it sticks. And I went, oh, no, that is a problem.
Yeah, do not get an MRI if there's a bottle cap in your gut.
And so I, to this day, have no idea if it's still there or not. I hear that it could get stuck in the gallbladder or it could have come out. I have no idea.
So wait, how many years has it been?
14.
You didn't check your doo-doo immediately after that for a couple weeks just to see?
A couple days I did and never saw anything.
I would run a magnet over my turds. I mean, seriously, just to see if that thing's out. So it could, but all right. But say you go to the hospital now, okay? Because you don't know if you've passed this thing, all right? And they say, we need to give you an MRI. In my estimation, if there's anything metallic in my body, or I think there might be, there's no chance I'm doing it, right?
Or, I'm going to tell them I need an X-ray first.
Okay, well, what if you are, so say you're incapacitated, is your wife aware of the fact that if they say, hey, we have to give your husband an MRI, to say, give him an X-ray first because there might be a bottle cap still in his ass?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. My wife would know this. Would my brother or my mother remember that? I'm not sure because those are other emergency contacts, but my wife definitely would.
Bro, I'm not even kidding. Like, I would let everyone know. Just, because if they do an MRI and it rips that thing out of there, that's...
Yeah, it can't be good to just have it in there.
Yeah.
I told you I used to have a buddy that would eat, his big party trick in high school is he could take a bite out of a can and chew it up and swallow it.
Jesus.
This could not have ended well.
Well, for years, it was fine, right? He was in the military.
For years.
That's right.
For years.
Years.
So I don't see him that often, but I ran into him about 5 years ago. He is like, you want to hear a crazy story? I'm like, hit me. And he's like, turns out swallowing all that aluminum was bad.
You don't say.
Right?
Wow.
That's some story about like, turns out he had to have a surgery to have it all removed.
Why were you the only one doing it then?
How much aluminum did he say he had? What that they had to remove?
I can't remember, but it was just one of those things. Like,
Too bad he doesn't live in Michigan, just so you got.
Yeah. Right. But it wasn't even like we were drinking at parties. It was just like at lunchtime and be like, hey, man, you want? And he would just take a bite and chew it up and eat it. And it used to just like hurt your teeth watching him do it.
God.
But yeah. Turns out, he had to have a surgery on that.
They had to cut his stomach open, probably remove years and years of aluminum.
Yeah.
It's probably like that scene in Jaws when they found the wrong shark, cut it open, and they found the license plate.
Yeah, and I think it was one of those things, too. He just had issues that, like, nobody could figure out. And then,
it just never dawned on him.
It never dawned on him, and then also, I don't think... I mean, you got to feel awkward as a man in your early 30s and having to look at the doctor and go, oh, yeah, I used to chew up parts of aluminum cans and swallow it as like a trick.
A trick. Ta-da!
But at least it explains a lot. Dr.
You're the only one who does this.
He thought everyone else was weird.
I mean, look, you're 100% right. But, I mean, again, you got to keep in mind, this is lunchtime in high school. There is nobody around except just 16 and 17-year-old dudes. You're like, dude, eat another can. This is awesome.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Oh, let's say hello to Matt. Hello, Matt. Welcome to the men's room.
So I'm in the elevator union, and when the hoistway's done, the car is built, you got to clean the hoistway down. You start at the top, on the car top, check all the nuts and bolts coming down, you paint your welds, etc. So I'm on the car top with a kid I work with, and I have a big old dip in my lip, and I spit in a bottle. I don't want to spit on the walls and the floor and all that. So we're going down, and I knock some stuff off, and it gets in my eye, and I'm like, oh, crap, I can't see, it's stuck. And my safety bag is, 40 floors down with my eye wash kit in it. Well, the kid I work with, Trevor, he's like, hey, I got a water bottle. I'm like, great. So I start squirting it in my eye. Can't get it out. I set the water bottle down, mess with my eye a little bit, and then my arm rubbed across my spit bottle that was in my vest. So I hear the crinkle of the bottle, think it's the water, grab it, and squirt about half a bottle of my dip spit into my eye. Yeah. My first thought was, why is it warm and why does it smell like wintergreen? And then I realized, obviously, what I had done.
How bad did that hurt, man?
Oh, it stank like crazy. I've been drunk at parties and picked up the wrong beer bottle that someone was spitting in and, all that. That's gross, but yeah, when it went into my eye, it burned, and everybody I work with now, they know the story, and it gets brought up.
Wow. So. Yeah, I'd rather accidentally drink it than shoot it in my eye. For sure, man.
For sure.
God damn. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I used to dip. I remember a couple times seeing Bernie get close. It's like, no.
People around me who dipped were typically people who put a paper towel in the vessel just to let you know, a little bit of a warning,
especially if it's a cup.
So you could see what the hell's going on.
Well, the other thing too is like, if you dip, it's fine, right? But some people just, again, if it's your car, leave them around.
Sure.
But I knew people that would leave them around like an office or whatever. And it's like, what are we doing? You're spitting in that, man. You got to take care of that. Throw it out.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like, look, I understand that you dip. I understand you're going to spit in the cup. You also understand I'm going to take a dump at work. And just like I flush the toilet when I'm done, can you get rid of the bottle when you're done? That's all we ask.
Or any can you're using, for that matter.
True. Right.
It could be a Sprite. Throw it away. Come on, kid.
We do run into that.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.